Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I hope you are having a great day. In today's story, sister doesn't want OP's wife at her wedding, but insists on having OP's ex there. What should OP do? Am I the idiot for refusing to attend my sister's wedding, or give a gift, after she invited my ex, but excluded my wife? My 32, female, sister, 28, female, is getting married in a few weeks. She recently sent out the official invites, and while I was included, my wife, 30 female, was not. When I asked about it, my sister told me the decision was intentional. She said she wants her wedding to be as peaceful as possible, and that she doesn't feel comfortable having my wife there. For context, my wife and sister have never gotten along particularly well. There's no major incident or explosive history, just mutual dislike and a few passive-aggressive exchanges over the years. That said, my wife has always been respectful at family gatherings, and I've never seen her act out. What makes this worse, though, is that my ex-girlfriend, whom I dated for 4 years before meeting my wife, is invited. My sister remained friends with her after we broke up 6 years ago. I didn't love it, but I never made an issue of it. Still, it's incredibly hurtful to see that my sister would rather include someone from my past, someone I haven't spoken to in years, over the person I've chosen to build a life with. I told my sister that I wasn't comfortable attending under these circumstances, and that I wouldn't be sending a wedding gift either. I said if she doesn't recognize my wife as part of the family, then she shouldn't expect me to play along with the celebration as if everything is fine. She accused me of being petty, and trying to punish her for setting boundaries. My parents have since called to say I'm overreacting, and that I should just go and keep the peace. To me, this feels like more than a disagreement, it feels like a fundamental lack of respect for my marriage. But the family seems to think I'm making it about me. Am I the idiot for refusing to attend the wedding and declining to give a gift, because of how my wife has been treated? OP gives more info in the comments. Let me guess, your ex is single? Yeah, she is, and while I'd love to believe that's irrelevant, I can't help but wonder if there's more to the invite than just, quote, staying friends. The fact that my wife wasn't invited, but someone I dated for 4 years was, definitely raises some eyebrows. It just feels incredibly disrespectful, not just to my wife, but to our marriage. Whether it's intentional or not, it sends a message I can't ignore. Info: your sister remained friends with your ex. Was she friends with your ex before your relationship? Like, is this a best friend of hers? Also, how large is the wedding? If we're talking about 12 people, I can see inviting a best friend and not an in-law, particularly if we have a known dislike for each other. Good questions. So to clarify, no, my wife is not friends with my ex. My sister is. They became close during the time I was dating my ex and stayed in touch after we broke up. My wife and ex have no relationship and haven't spoken in years. As for the size of the wedding, it's not small. Around 100 guests, including extended family, coworkers, and a few mutual friends we haven't seen in ages. So this definitely wasn't a tight guest list situation. It's your sister's wedding day, you said it yourself, they don't get along. I hear what you're saying, and if it were a situation where both sides were just mutually cold or didn't vibe, I might agree with you. But this isn't just a case of two people not getting along, it's my sister actively choosing to invite someone from my past while deliberately excluding the woman I'm married to. That's not a neutral move, it's a statement. I'd show up for my sister in a heartbeat under almost any circumstances. But asking me to stand there, smile, and celebrate while my wife stays home because she's not welcome? That's not something I can justify, and honestly, I don't think it's something most spouses would tolerate quietly. Mutual dislike and passive-aggressive remarks on both sides, but your wife's always been respectful? BS, what actually happened? Respectful doesn't mean she's never rolled her eyes or made a sarcastic comment in private. It means she's never caused a scene at a family event, insulted my sister publicly, or made things uncomfortable for anyone else. The passive-aggressive stuff has definitely gone both ways, and I'm not pretending my wife is a saint, but there's a big difference between private irritation and justifying exclusion from a major family milestone. That's the line I think was crossed. You've admitted in the post and the comments that your wife and your sister fight, that your wife makes comments and rolls her eyes. Why would your sister invite someone who treats her like crap? I get where you're coming from, but there's a difference between not liking someone and outright mistreating them. My wife isn't warm to my sister, and yes, there's tension, but it goes both ways. My sister has made plenty of digs over the years, and it's not like she's rolling out the red carpet either. If my wife actually treated her like crap, I wouldn't expect an invite. But being mutually cold or passive-aggressive isn't the same as being cruel or disruptive. Info: what caused the breakup with your ex of 4 years that you think your sister was required to drop her close friend? What did your ex do that would make it reasonable for you to think your sister should have stopped being friends? How long ago did you break up? How long have you been dating and then married to your wife? I'm kind of thinking there's probably more to the, quote, mutually passive-aggressive relationship between your wife and your sister. To me it sounds like there's a lot you're hiding, which makes me think it's not as cut and dry as it would seem here. Your sister should be allowed to invite close friends to her wedding, even if they used to date you, unless they wronged you significantly. I do think under normal circumstances, it would be absolutely rude to not invite your sibling's spouse to your wedding. From the way you've written it, her concern is petty and intentionally slighting you and your wife's relationship. I'm just thinking there's more under the hood. Totally fair to ask all that. Here's some clarity. My ex and I broke up about 6 years ago. It wasn't explosive or volatile, just one of those relationships that ran its course. No cheating, no betrayal, just very different long-term goals and a slow drift. I never demanded that my sister stop being friends with her, and I've actually been pretty tolerant of that friendship over the years, even though it's always been awkward. I started dating my now wife about a year after the breakup. We've been together for 5 years, married for 2. As for my wife and my sister, yeah, there's definitely a strained dynamic. It's not one-sided, and I'm not pretending anyone's totally innocent. They've both made comments, avoided each other at times, and generally failed to find common ground. That said, my wife has never raised her voice at my sister, never made a scene at family events, and has tried to set boundaries rather than escalate things. I absolutely agree that my sister can invite close friends. What crossed the line for me wasn't that she invited my ex, it was that she invited my ex while excluding my wife, who is supposed to be my partner and family now. That move, in that order, felt less like keeping the peace and more like sending a message. I get that this isn't black and white. But to me, leaving out a sibling's spouse, especially when the relationship is solid, should be the exception, not the norm. And I'm just not comfortable acting like that choice is normal or neutral. I think you are reading too much into the ex thing. Outside of that, the whole etiquette states you must invite a married spouse is BS. With the cost of weddings nowadays, you best believe everyone there should be someone the couple loves and who loves them back. Your wife and your sister seem to feel the same way about each other. Why the F would you want to dampen your sister's day and make your wife sit through a day where she's expected to be believably happy for the couple? Both women will be miserable. Don't go, don't send a gift, and alternate holidays with your parents because I doubt you three will ever get along if this is how you act as adults. I actually agree with some of what you said. If my wife had been invited, she wouldn't have gone unless she felt genuinely comfortable being there. I wouldn't force that on her, and I'm not trying to throw her into a room full of people who don't want her there. But here's the thing, I didn't expect my sister to love my wife. I expected her to respect my marriage. I didn't read too much into the ex thing until it became clear that my wife wasn't invited, but the ex, who has no real role in our lives anymore, was. That's what tipped this into something more intentional than just wedding logistics. And honestly, you're probably right, we may never all get along. But part of being an adult, in my view, is choosing your boundaries and living with the consequences. I'm okay with missing the wedding if that's what it takes to stand by my partner. Well, I agree that it is your sister's wedding and that she should invite only whoever she wants, but at the same time, your reaction is completely understandable. And the people saying that you are overreacting or saying that they don't understand your decision are lying. Even if sister doesn't get along with your wife, inviting someone to a wedding without including their significant other is bold, but I'm not saying that necessarily in a good way. And I don't think sister is so naive to think that you'd be okay with your wife being excluded from her wedding, while your ex was invited to. She has to know that by excluding your wife and including your ex, the chances of you not going to the wedding were very high. Also, I'm all for setting boundaries with the people we don't like, but let's be real, unless your sister really hates your wife, or if she thinks your wife is going to try to sabotage the wedding in some way, she should have invited her. Even if it is just to keep the peace in the family, like your parents want. Honestly, I think keeping the peace in the family should be something to be considered here, but not by you. With this gesture, your sister ended up creating a very bad situation between you, not only with your wife, but also with you, and I don't know how you guys can resolve it from now on. Since it is clear that she does not respect your union, and I don't know how you guys can go from here. It's not about the wedding anymore, that ship sailed. Now it's about if you still want your sister in your life, now that you know how she really feels about your marriage. And what do you guys think OP should do? What would you do in this situation? Would you go to the wedding? Do you think OP is overreacting or not? Would you go to a wedding where your partner was intentionally excluded? Don't forget to leave your thoughts down below. Now let's see what the comments say. Not the idiot at all. My parents have since called to say I'm overreacting and that I should just go and keep the peace. Why aren't your parents insisting on your wife being included and that your sister keep the peace? You are right. Your sister is disrespecting your marriage. She's seriously going to stand up and make vows to her partner, but not respect the vows you made to yours? Don't go. Do something fun with your wife that day. RSVP a sound no, and tell your parents that keeping the peace is a two-way street, and they need to speak to your sister about correct wedding etiquette. Do send your sister a wedding gift, a book on etiquette. Take your wife somewhere amazing on the day of the wedding, and post tons of pics. Caption them with, "Nothing important going on, so we're taking advantage with an all-day date." Not the idiot, a wedding invitation is never a summons, and that is especially true here. Your sister refusing to invite your wife is incredibly disrespectful to you, and you have every right to decline the invitation on that basis alone. The fact that your ex is going makes it even more justified. Your sister has every right to invite your ex because they are friends, but when your own wife is excluded, inviting the ex does seem like piling on. This situation is not your fault, it's your sister's. You're not the idiot for refusing a disrespectful invite. It's laughable that she wants you to respect her boundaries, but is so comfortably walking all over yours. You do not invite married couples, if you do not want to invite both of them. Not the idiot, also thank you for having a spine and not just accepting the disrespect towards your wife. Not the idiot, guaranteed she would flip out if it was reversed and her new husband wasn't invited somewhere instead. Good for you for standing up for your wife in marriage. And what about you guys? Do you agree with the comments? What else would you advise to OP? Don't forget to leave your comments down below. Oh, and I hope you are enjoying the video so far. If so, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications to know when a new video is out. Now let's go to the next story. You want me to stop working overtime? Sure, good luck hitting your deadlines. I originally posted this as a comment on another thread, but a few people messaged me saying I should give it its own post. So here we are. About 10 years ago, I worked for a mid-sized manufacturing company that did contract work for a lot of big-name tech companies. We were always under pressure to meet tight deadlines, and it was common for employees, especially on my team, to rack up a ton of overtime. We weren't forced, but we were compensated really well for it. I was young, hungry for the extra cash, and honestly proud of helping the team hit goals. Enter new management. Our old supervisor retired and was replaced by a guy I'll call Dan. Dan came in hot, trying to shake things up and streamline operations. Classic. One of his first big changes? He decided that too much overtime was making him look bad to higher-ups, said it made it seem like he couldn't manage his team's workload. So he called a meeting and announced that going forward, we were not allowed to log overtime unless it was pre-approved in writing. And spoiler, he wasn't going to approve it. We tried to warn him, we told him how much we actually needed that extra time to hit the ridiculous deadlines that were promised to clients. He waved it off, said we should work smarter, not harder. So fine, we did exactly what he wanted. We all stopped working overtime cold turkey. No staying late to help the next shift, no logging in early, no coming in on Saturdays to prep for big shipments. We worked our 8-hour shifts and clocked out, nothing more. At first Dan was thrilled. He kept bragging in meetings about how he'd, quote, fix the overtime problem, but within 2 weeks, the cracks started showing. Orders got delayed, shipments missed deadlines, customers started calling, pissed off about late deliveries. Dan started staying late himself trying to figure out why things were falling apart, but the dude had no clue what actually went into the day-to-day work. It all came to a head about a month in. We missed a massive delivery for one of our biggest clients, and they threatened to pull their contract. Dan ended up in a panic, trying to throw overtime at us to catch up. By then, most of us were over it. A few people bailed and found other jobs. I stayed long enough to watch him eat crow, then I moved on too. The best part? The higher-ups eventually figured out that his no overtime policy was the root of the problem, and he was let go, aka fired, about 6 months after he started. Moral of the story, be careful what you wish for when you try to fix things that aren't broken. Wow. Yeah, guys. If you want to change or improve a system, learn how it really works, before you break it completely, and end up ruining your career in the process. This could all have been avoided if he had listened to OP and his colleagues, and understood how the work was done. But there are people who just want to take the credit for fix something, even if the something was not broken. And what did you guys think of this situation? Don't forget to leave your opinion. And that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, go watch the video that is appearing on the screen right now or click on one of our playlists that are in the description to watch more videos. Until next time.